Day 6 of the Olympic Games, good day for India because you won a medal. Swapnil has given you that bronze medal. But I think also the biggest shock of this World Cup has come today for India. I'll try and explain that to you as well. Why do I say the biggest shock? And that, of course, is pertaining to Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty being knocked out. Because before the Olympics started, if you had to ask me which are like the two medals that you are almost guaranteed to win here, most people would have picked Neeraj Chopra and Satvik Sairaj and Chirag. I mean, not the color of the medal, you could not be certain, but I'm sure a lot of people would have picked these two as a certainty. And for them to be knocked out in the quarterfinals, I think is a bit of a shocker. Right behind me, actually, what you see is the badminton arena. This is where the games happen. And I was witness to that encounter. You know, the way it started, remember there are three courts and three matches were happening simultaneously. The Chinese game versus the Indonesian was happening. The Danish were up against the Koreans. And then in the center were the Indians up against the Malaysian. There was a lot of Malaysian support. But the first game, both the remaining encounters were very close matches. Even the top seeds, the Chinese were getting pushed by unseeded pair of the Indonesian shuttlers. And only match which is going only in one direction was the India versus Malaysia match. And you thought this will finish the earliest. Indians are going to win easily and the remaining two matches might go on for a bit longer. Exactly the opposite was to happen. The Indians were the only one where you saw an upset because you lost to an unseeded pair of Malaysian doubles player, and India were, remember, seeded third, so one of the favourites to win the, if not the gold, at least a bronze medal or a silver medal, and to be knocked out by an unseeded Malaysian pair, I think is a bit of a shocker. They you know, the first game, the way they played, they were aggressive, everything falling into place. You look like it's going to be a short game, but it wasn't to be. And I think that's where the Malaysian changed the strategy. You'd have to blame the Indian pairing for this. I felt watching that game very closely that quite often the Indian pair were intent on playing aggressive badminton. There's nothing wrong with playing aggressive badminton, but you need to really figure out what is that strategy that is working for you. And I think because they won the first game so easily, they thought that the aggressive attitude of going for multiple smashes and trying to keep the point short, not trying to, play the waiting game, I think that went against him. I felt they wanted to exert their authority and win with style, and that wasn't going to be the case. Malaysian, on the other hand, understated and I think played the patient game really well, where they just sat back, waited for the Indians to make mistake, were happy to have long rallies, aim being no unforced errors. That is what their aim was, and that is exactly something that worked out in their favor, and the Indian players actually the ones that conceded a lot of unforced errors. I'd have to say slightly, it's never good to pinpoint one person, but I have to say Chirag slightly more than Satvik Sairaj on the day with a few unforced errors, and before you knew it, the rug was pulled out of their feet, the Indian pair. And I think again the second game, somewhere, the third game, close contest, but I think third game they knew that, oh, it's do or die, we have to be at our best. But second game, I think they just let it go. Because you'd won the first game, you took your opponent a bit lightly, and that's where the game really slipped out of your hands. Now, I'm of course saying, big upset and, unseeded Malaysian pair, third seed Indians. But just to put it into perspective, the Malaysians, it's not that they are no-hopers. They are, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, ranked 5th in the world at the moment. So they're also a top team. And of course the Indian pair also knew they were up against it, but they were clearly the favourites on this encounter. Overall, and I think that is the clincher, overall the head-to-head record now is in favour of the Malaysian player, the pair at 9-3. So the Malaysians have won 9 times, the Indians only 3 times, and I think that is telling, and I think that is the primary reason where you had an unseeded pair knock out the third seed pair of the Indian shuttlers. So, plenty was expected from them. It wasn't to be. Even if they had won this match, up next would be the top seed, but the top seed were really pushed by the Indonesian pair, and the same Indonesian pair that were beaten in straight games by this Indian pair in the group stages. So sometimes it's, in badminton you can't say that I have beaten X and X has beaten Y, so when I come up against Y, I'll easily beat them. No, sometimes Y can beat me also. And that's exactly what happened in this doubles encounter. It's an opportunity lost, you'd have to say. But maybe now all eyes on the two singles player. Lakshya has gone through. Sindhu is yet to play her match. We'll keep, of course, bringing you all the latest updates on that front. For the moment, Nikhil Nas signing off from the badminton arena here in Paris. Don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, most important thing to Sports Today if you haven't already. Take care, guys. Bye.